First of all, welcome. I'd like to thank. I'm your host on the streets. They call me the Chimperilla 2K, the Chimperilla 2K. I'm your host. Welcome and hello, YouTube universe. Thank you, NAG. This chat window is available here for us to chit chat, talk together, and I'm pretty sure that some work that he has been doing is every bit responsible for that. We've got to focus. We've got some important stuff going on with WWE. I've got my game face on, as you can see. The Chimperilla 2K is not playing around here. I've got my Solo Sokoa. I've got a button, the bottom button. That's how Solo wears it. Okay. I got my Solo Sokoa gear on, and I'll tell you, folks, wasn't the big Solo fan to start with. Wasn't my favorite member, but you know, I did over time grow to like Solo. I love you, Solo. I love you, Solo, and he is, after all, the tribal chief. So don't forget that. I mean, people talk about double R. If you know who I'm talking about, it might be Roman Reigns. But Solo, before let me unbutton this, before his tribe was just decimated by corporate thugs, elites that are making billions and could care less. And we'll probably shut these streams down momentarily. Solo Sokoa grew and developed and had a nice little army. Maybe he was too powerful. Maybe he had to be taken apart. I don't know. But let's break down who it was with Solo's faction. Now, let's go ahead and talk real quick. Now, the other side faction of the Bloodline right now, we're feeling and hearing is Roman Reigns, Double R, big Double R, big guy. By the way, this is not a bullet. This is just a coaxial cable. Double R, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Jey Uso. That's the one side faction of the Bloodline that carries the heat and the titles and the accolades and can say that they're this and they're that. And the other side is the Solo faction. Solo came in with these guys and broke away from Jimmy, Jey, and Roman, created a group with the Tongas. Tonga Lone brothers were Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. Yeah. So obviously one's been released. The other one was about to split out of his faction anyways. He was leaving the faction already and standing up to Solo. So Solo's left basically out there. Solo Sokoa, tribal chief, mind you. Tribal chief is left with Tonga, the newest guy. I mean, love him, great guy, but he is he's not Tama Tonga and he's not Tongaloa, and I'm sorry, those guys were really good. And I believe we still have Tama Tonga, but the other one is gone. It's gone. Cut. So somebody, could, I don't know. Anyways, I won't try to get into where or why, but he's no longer with the company. So basically, Solo went from having a faction to being a tag team, if you will. I mean, almost. Because we all know that Shinsuke Nakamura, by the way, is amazing, was just working with Tama Tonga and talking to him about why you with Solo, you need to be standing on your own. So that's indicative of a lot of things in America where people have corporate challenges, and then our decisions are made as they say in the corporate. Levers are pulled, people have to be released. Okay, we know about this, and then some of us are happy, some of us are unhappy, whatever. But the fact of it is I don't know about Tonga, but I know you're sending a message, corporatized message, when all the older vets that get paid more. But you can't sugarcoat this stuff. This ain't even the subject of this whole thing today. But you can't sugarcoat it that these corporate types are sending these people home, and they start out with the senior tenured people, and they say goodbye to them because they're being paid more. They're typically will fit certain descriptions. I don't know. Maybe like they're over a certain age. I don't know. But they've basically been around and getting paid. They get cut loose and brought in our new. Don't hate the new ones that come in, but they're brought in for a purpose because they're getting paid. Probably a lot less. Let's say that. Let's not even make guesses that they're getting paid less. So that's basically, check that off our list. So we know who's left of both factions, and not unless you figure and talk about storylines. Chimperella 2K, you heard it with Chimperella 2K first. Sami Zayn is the honorary Uso and could realign with the bloodline that we know as Jimmy and Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, and should, by the way, because he's basically getting booed everywhere he goes, and is a great, accomplished superstar that deserves to have something go in his direction, especially something main event caliber that could really fall into play and play into some beautiful storylines with that. But we're not here to talk about that. Let's talk about Solo, who brought in Fatu, Jacob Fatu, Samoan Werewolf. You know what I mean? Anybody that's a Fatu fan, know what I mean? Because all gas and no brakes, Jacob Fatu has taken the world by storm. He's known all over the planet. He's as big as Obafemi in every respect. And some people haven't heard of Obafemi yet, so whatever. You'll get there. But Fatu is not aligned with anybody, and there's opportunities here, especially, but we don't know. We're not going to get to that, but we'll maybe towards the end of this segment, if we have time, we'll talk about Roman Reigns and his future with WWE, or if it's really, because everything we're hearing is all rumor, guys, and when whispers of chat bots on Facebook that are really just mostly hooks to rip people off, I guess, or make people interact, clickbait, rage bait, whatever. We'll get to that if we have time. That's kind of the elephant in the room. So we're not ignoring the elephant in the room, whether or not he will stay or not. I don't see how they're going to live without him. Nobody does. But people thought World War I could only possibly last a couple of months. So you never know what's going to happen, especially when you have money involved and corporate elites pulling levers that don't know what they're doing about the wrestling business. Sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. It is a show, and the show is designed to produce and entertain. Thank you. So what we've got is Fatu kind of in the middle, and really you don't know. Fatu is going to take on Roman for the championship at Backlash. This is going to be coming up. We know this. It's going to be coming up like literally, I think, tomorrow. So that's not the question. The question is, where do we want these storylines to go? Do we want to see, Roman and Fatu take each other and go at it in a fair fight, best man win? Do we want to see the typical bloodline betrayal? Do we want to see Jimmy and Jey come in and fight against each other and make Roman lose, or make Fatu lose? These are scenarios that possibly could come about, people. These are scenarios that could happen. And how does Solo and his one guy factor in, or is he just going to be left out, of the whole equation? That's a good question. How does he factor into this? Because he's trying to tell Fatu, look, I brought you into this, and I'm here. I'm the guy, that brought you here. And then Roman said, well, Fatu didn't bring you here. I signed off on you coming here because Fatu couldn't even bring a cup of coffee into here without me. That's kind of how Roman put it, anyways. Not exact words, folks. So basically, you know, a lot of people are going to want to know what could this symbolize something for Solo long term, and could there be an opportunity for Solo to help Roman win the championship? Could there be an opportunity for Solo to help Roman Reigns win the title? That's basically the gist of this kind of like storyline areas that we're playing with, that we're wondering if they can come about. Now, obviously, the beauty of the beauty of being a fan of the entertainment part side of this business is, and that's what I proclaim to be as a fan. The beauty of being this fan is that you can be wrong and still get vested in these storylines and say, well, golly, I really wanted for Naomi to stay good Naomi and win the championship, and for Bianca Belair to say that she was the one that actually beat up Jade Cargill and injured her, and she was only playing along. Naomi was covering for her the whole time, and then see Bianca become the heel. That's what I want. But congratulations, obviously, Bianca Belair is not going to become a heel. She's going to be having a tiny bit of time off at the very least. But congratulations are in order, and it's good to see. And the Street Profits are getting some due representation in that tag team division that they deserve. Both of them are just really involved in matches and really do take it up to the next level in everything they do, if you ask me. Coming back to our original point, though, we know Roman Reigns was pulled off certain things. This all could be part of the story, the craft. They want you. Why did Pat McAfee do what he did before WrestleMania? It's part of the story and part of the craft. And what Pat McAfee did was he appeared as a celebrity, and also he expressed himself, according to him, and whether people like it or not, about what he believes about the business. But it's part of narrating a craft of division that says there's got to be one side that's for this group and the other side is for this group. Okay, one side's Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and old school la-di-da, and of course everybody hated them back then, but we won't talk about that. And then the other side is corporate TKO and The Rock, and we're saying a juxtaposition of the classical behind the just what we're seeing in the dramas unfolding on the screen and the storylines, but this juxtaposition toying with hints and rumors and stuff that says, well, there is division amongst the upper ranks. There is some kind of division, and the division is about where this stuff should go. And come about could segue directly into a little bit of the Gunther thing where, Gunther is now going after Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and Gunther are going to head up, and there's no denying when you watch this guy Gunther in the ring that he is an elite professional sports athlete, entertainer slash entertainer, whatever you want to call it. I mean, even Rodman said, I'm an entertainment, I'm not a basketball player, I'm an entertainer. And Dennis Rodman knows what he's talking about. He's traveled the world. He's played basketball all around the world, representing the great sport of basketball and representing the idea of bringing people together in peace and unity. So don't doubt what that man advises. Not for a second. Not for a second. I guarantee you, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Can Fatu beat Roman? No, I don't think so. Not that he isn't as great as they say he is, but Roman Reigns, whether people want to admit it or not, or the guy that's portrayed, that dude in itself is probably got to be one of the baddest dudes on the planet. And you don't hear him, and the dudes win their MMA fights, and they don't go, they should. If they knew what was good for them, they would. But they don't go, who do you want to fight next? Them MMA guys, you don't hear them going, I want to take on Roman Reigns next. They don't say that. I don't hear Logan Paul saying how he's, on his show. I don't even talk about that. My bad. My bad. My bad. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. I digress. Nothing against Logan Paul. Guy's a fine wrestler. And yes, he can stand in the ring with guys like Roman Reigns, and I admire that very much. He doesn't play around about his craft. And wrestling is what he's doing right now. And you had better believe that he has honed this craft. And I'm talking honed it to the finite millimeter, precision. So don't ever doubt that. I personally, when talking about the vision, and I dig Logan Paul, especially that high flying stuff with Ricochet back then. That kind of stole the show to one of the big pay per views. But I'm a big, of course, I'm in Austin. I like Austin Theory, and Austin Theory to me is like the ultimate underdog in WWE because he's had to do nothing but suffer the wrath of being liked by certain people, supposedly liked by certain people, pushed by certain people that are no longer in at the helm, or no longer pulling making these decisions. Let's say that, and that bodes not so well sometimes. You might see this in the workplace. Bosses come in and go in, and the new boss floats in, and all of a sudden you go from getting a good review to, I don't like the way this is going, and we don't feel comfortable with you in this position. Stuff like that happens all the time. Happens all the time. Let me tell you, it does. So I think Austin Theory is in a great position to. He doesn't have to turn on the vision. What he has to do is he has to continue to show, because he's been showing. They won the tag team titles just like he said they should go after, and continue to show. And somebody will prove me wrong on that because I just made that up. But he is, without a doubt, he has the prowess and the physical capability, and to really, I think, not be a heel and be a face, and can get to that. I think he could get to that face level easily. Not easily. I'm sorry, because that makes it sound like this man didn't accomplish a lot, which he did. And I'm talking about the level of, hey, not, yeah, I think he could be a face that people really buy into like that. And it's not just look, just face it. Who wouldn't root for you know Austin Theory helping out LA Knight against the Vision and becoming LA Knight's tag partner? And getting out of that and becoming a main event kind of guy in himself, especially since Jay was the big face main eventer and they pulled him off Friday nights. I don't even know how that worked out, but you know, he was a big face main eventer and a solo guy, and then just put him right back with the tag teams because apparently and this is circling back to the whole solo Fatu and faction kind of thing. Apparently, this is what they wanted. Was it seems like the sure bets are the only bets right now for TKO because a sure bet is bringing back the Bellas. It's not taking a risk on new talent. Let's just say it how it is. And it's nothing against the Bellas. Love those ladies. Nothing against Paige. I love Paige. I almost want to cry when she came back, honestly. But it's a sure bet to have the Usos become tag teams again instead of trying to figure out when you can't even do storylines for Aleister Black or storylines for literally any of the Wyatt Six. There's no reason why to pretend that anything would get any better for any of these other people. And that's the whole shadow looming over. And that could be like this in your workplace where they make these initial cuts, like grandiose cuts across the board with the vets, or the big dogs, or not the big dogs, but people have come up through the trenches with that are maybe side by side with you. And then the next thing they do when people start to murmur and grumble is they start leaking out information about more cuts. And so then all you're worried about is not being in the next round of cuts, and you can't do anything about what just happened. Forget about that. You're lucky to be here. That's basically what they're saying. Forget about that. What and that could kind of sounds familiar. Like, what was it? I think I've heard something like that before. What? You felons? You're lucky we gave you a job. So that kind of stuff is happening. And that's the kind of stuff that's eliciting. That's why fans are taking this stuff to heart that's happening with their stars, like Kyrie Zane, and it's not all settling well with them. We know there has to be cuts. There's cuts every year. There was cuts under the McMahons. There was cuts under Stephanie. There was cuts under Shane. There was cuts under their father. There's always been cuts. There's always been cuts. And that's part of the business, I guess. Who makes the decisions and why? It literally must be like a magic 8-ball. I'm telling you, people. Like literally a magic 8-ball, because I cannot figure out like any rational sense of any of that stuff at all. At all. Which is just like kind of like this corporate kind of thing, because basically it doesn't have to make any sense. It just has to suit as an end to a means or fulfill an objective. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to accomplish a task. That's kind of what you're getting at. So if you are interested in this kind of stuff, if you like being here doing some fun stuff out and about, I am your host, your Chipperella 2K over at Y2 Content. So basically, you got the Y, you got the number 2 content, KONTNT, your host, Chimperilla2K. We'll have some more updates on WWE and lots more. Thanks for coming in and participating.